Johnny Sins, one of the most recognizable male porn stars on the planet, is unfortunately a terrible example of the dangers of being blue pill. My name is Sterling Cooper. I'm an award-winning adult film star, former high-class male companion, and I'm here to help you improve your sex life. Now, first of all, let me just start by saying I've got no problem whatsoever with Johnny Sins. We've never actually personally met, but like I said, he's a great male performer. He's fantastic, like porn star. The dude deserves all the accolades, all the awards, all of the fame that he has because he's really, really good at this job. And from what I've heard, he's an all-round fantastic, nice guy. So first of all, I have no problem with Johnny whatsoever. But it's a really good example for people for dudes to look at on the dangers of being blue pill, because a lot of guys don't believe me and they don't understand. They're kind of surprised when I tell them that basically 95% of the male porn stars in the adult entertainment industry are really blue pill dudes. They hold on to these kind of myths and beliefs about male, female nature. And unfortunately for Johnny, he kind of got taken advantage, he definitely got taken advantage of by Kiss of Sins. And that's what I'm going to break down in this video. Now, Kiss of Sins and Johnny Sins kind of relationship, it's a really good example of like fame jacking. She totally fame jacked him and basically cucked him, like if you want to be super technical about it. And the reason is, like, if you kind of understand their relationship history and their background and how they even got together, it's really interesting, like, how this all developed. And this is why I wanted to talk about it, because it's a really good example for the average dude on no matter how much fame and success you have. Like, Johnny Sins has this lifestyle that most dudes would give the right testicle for, right? But he still got fucked over in a relationship. So it doesn't matter, guys, like how successful you are, how much money you have. If you don't understand female nature, you will get taken advantage of at some point. And so that's kind of the real important emphasis I want to make about this entire video today. So the way that Johnny and Kiss of Sins actually ended up together, if I had my information correctly, and I got this from, watching some of Johnny Sins' videos on his YouTube channel, Kisser was actually a fan of his, and she sort of slid into his Instagram DMs. They started talking, and then she ended up, going out to Hawaii and seeing him where he lived at the time. Or maybe he met her in Vegas or whatever. But then the two of them ended up in a relationship together, and they ended up living together in Hawaii for a while. And during that time, he basically had like the perfect life for any dude. He lived in Hawaii with this beautiful woman, and they would fly out female porn stars and have like threesomes, foursomes, and fivesomes. Like, where it's just him and a bunch of chicks. And that was their entire, they had a whole subscription site, like Sin's Life, I think it was, where those were the scenes they put up. But it was literally just him and her and a bunch of chicks, and he was having the time of his life. This went on for a while. Super successful and super popular. So what went wrong? Well, what went wrong is that he let her get into mainstream porn and start shooting with other dudes. Now, this probably happened, if I'm gonna take a wild stab in the dark, it's probably happened because they were flying out mainstream female porn stars to have, group sex with, and those girls probably started whispering in Kiss of Sins' ear, saying shit like, "Oh, you'd be so good in porn, you should do porn, blah, 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 blah." And this, my friends, is a really great example of you should be cautious of who you let your woman hang around with, the kinds of women you let your woman associate with and talk with and learn from and have conversations with, because the kinds of women that influence your woman is going to have a big impact on your relationship. So that is actually something you in my opinion, that's something you really want to tailor and curate and cultivate yourself, because if you don't, then these really negative influences are going to come in from the outside, from complete hoes or whatever, and they're going to screw around with her opinions, her belief systems, and lead her astray. So basically, Kisser ended up in the mainstream porn industry. She ended up shooting with dudes without Johnny being around, without Johnny involved there, and she even they sort of separated after that for a little bit, and she ended up in LA for a while while he set it in Hawaii. And I remember the first industry party I ever went to when I was in LA. She walked into the party with her arms around Marcus Dupree, like she was Marcus Dupree's date at the time. And Marcus Dupree had just won the Male Performer of the Year the previous year, so he was the top dog. He was the big shit, king shit right then. And surprise, surprise, and Kiss Sin was this new girl on the scene. She was popular, but she was all over him. She was basically banging him. Well, yeah, she was definitely banging him that night, or whatever. And all the while, she has her entire brand, her entire fame is only because of Johnny Sins. That's why she's Kiss Sin. It's because of Johnny Sins. Like he turned her into a name in the industry. And so, and that's what I mean when I'm saying that Kiss Sin's like fame jacked Johnny. If she wasn't his girl, she wouldn't have been anywhere near as popular and successful. She wouldn't have had that rocket ship start to her career that she did. So that's the thing. And then he let her get into mainstream porn, and she goes around fucking a bunch of the dudes. Hypergamy kicks in, and she ends up with the top ranked male porn star in that particular year. So let's talk a bit about like polygamy and cuckoldry and like how that kind of works in the adult industry, right? Because it's pretty, I mean, if you're fucking a porn star, if you're dating a porn star, rather, like, well, you know what their job is. They're gonna be banging other people, right? And there's kind of like this, the industry nature of people being in like open relationships. Like the industry has this, it's the norm really in our industry for like whoever, even if there is like a porn star who's dating someone who's not a porn star, it's like, okay, well, you know what their job is, they're gonna go out and do that, right? But if it's two porn stars dating, then you're both kind of out there banging people. And you could easily make the argument, yeah, it's like, that's cuckoldry, yeah, or is it an open relationship? Is it polyamory? Like, the way I always kind of looked at it was like, if the dude is banging more, if it's two porn stars dating, right? If the guy's working more than the girl's working, then it kind of balances out at the end, because if he's sleeping with like 30 different women a month, and she's only sleeping with like 10, it's like, all right, it's kind of even. Like, it's not the ideal setup, but at least he's not getting like a mega cucked. But if she's way more popular than him and she's working on more than him, he's getting mega cucked. And this is kind of why the red pill is so rare in the adult film industry. Because if you think about this, like, dudes are getting laid without any effort. They're getting what every dude, like biologically, evolutionarily, deep down, what every dude wants, like unlimited access to sexuality, right? So dudes are happy. They're getting threesomes. They're living out their wildest fantasies. They're getting laid all the time. But a lot of guys in my industry end up having their heart broken and getting into relationships with very toxic women. Hey, I'm totally guilty of having done this. On my sleeve, I've dated some girls in the industry who were completely batshit crazy. Full disclosure. And I know that these guys get their heart broken, by the way, because I'm friends with them. Like, I've seen them go through the turmoil of like, and then the fucking drama, and then they turn all their simpy fans on. Like, she breaks up with him, and then she gets all of her simpy white knight fans on Twitter to go after him and accuses him of some bullshit and says he's toxic and he's mean and he's evil and he's bad or whatever the hell. And meanwhile, the dudes are sitting there like, what the hell? I was like a really nice guy here, did everything I possibly could do. That's that danger of that blue pill mentality, unfortunately. So look, once again, I have no problem with Johnny Sins. I have no problem with Kiss Sins at all. But this is just I think this is a really great example of the dangers of not being aware of female nature and walking around living life with these kind of rose-tinted glasses, thinking everything is a goddamn Disney Hallmark fantasy movie, like a rom-com. It's really not, guys. Like, you can see this. Even a guy who has super high status, who seemingly has it all, like one of the world's most famous porn stars ever, even he was able to be taken advantage of and get his heart broken because he was operating with bad programming. He was operating with a false worldview.